He's so on top of everything right now. Nobody's going to tell him when something isn't funny.
Next time, give it loud everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have next time. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
Why, hello everybody, and welcome to an Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne. And we're here today to talk about nothing, Seinfeld style. What's up, Wayne?
What's going on? You having a good
Are
day?
you George or Kramer?
Me? I mean, obviously
Yeah.
I'm bald, fat, and I have glasses. I'm definitely George. And I do get angry about stupid shit.
Too. Definitely not Jerry. There's nobody of color in that entire... Not like I'm of color, but there's nobody not Jew white in
We've
that
gone over
entire
this.
show.
You're of olive tone.
Yeah, there's no olives in... What did you say? What was your olive joke that one time that blew my face off?
I think it was like a plan where it was like all of them.
Yeah, it was something like...
Something I
whew,
forget.
man,
Yeah.
that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. So, update the people on Wayne's comedy life. What's been going on? Have you achieved some goals? Have you done some things?
Yeah, good things happening. We just did that show for Mike Petrobus in Swansea. That was nice. It actually ended up being a really good show. We helped put together that lineup. It was me, you, Nick Taco, Justin George, Kaylee Krenzer, Juan Rosario, and I gotta say, everybody top to bottom.
What a
killed.
group of killers, huh?
It was incredible. It was really good. People definitely got their money's worth that night. Yeah, we did that. I did that benefit at the Gaz Bar at Leominster. That was interesting. That was my first time, not only outside but doing comedy in the brightest the brightest possible situation. I was first in the lineup. It was 7:00, and it was like sun was still up. It was interesting. It went pretty good. Bullet's always a little rough, but I think overall the crowd was just too good to not succeed.
I wonder if there's a ceiling on Bullet. You know what I mean? Like, let's say the potential of a show is there's 100% laughter, and the 100% laughter, it can Bullet get to 80, and that's the max it can get? Or if you have, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, what's that guy that talks about Shaq's children who's so hilarious?
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams, yeah. Like, if you had Cat Williams...
Not a Cat Williams fan, that is one of my favorite jokes of all time. That bit about Shaq's kid is so goddamn good.
So good. I'm going to be on my deathbed. I'm going to be like, oh, check him. Die with it. Oh, that's so good. But yeah, well, would he hit 100% every time on open? It doesn't matter. Or like, is open for him the same as closed for him? I don't think it is. I think that there's a built-in bias to Bullet that takes a couple jokes to overcome.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I think what it is people, when it comes to comedy or even like music, right? You have, like, let's say you go see a band, you have an opening band. People are taught to believe that the headliner is who you're there for. So whether you're in a headliner situation where you have an opener feature headliner, or you're in a showcase where there's going to be somebody that's going last, I think the first person definitely has something to go up against, because they're the first in the lineup, and in people's heads they're thinking the later the better, which I'm not going to say that's true or not true or whatever, but it's a false sense of belief.
Conditioned
I guess.
bias, we'll call it.
Yeah, bias. So it's not necessarily saying anybody's better or worse, but it doesn't mean that the first is worse than the last or vice versa.
I know that weekend I did Gibbs Garage the next day, and I don't want to call it closed, but I went last both nights. There is a bias, and I'll fucking take it. I'll take it any chance I get. That was awesome.
Yeah. So I think that bias might play a little bit of a role into it, where maybe some people might think, oh, this is the first one, so he's obviously the weaker you know,
It builds chops, though. I'll tell you
it
that.
does. It does. And I will say I really enjoyed that. I felt, um, especially listening back, I could feel the laughter, the buying into what I was selling going up over time. Overall, it was a fantastic time. I get to work with people I've never worked with before. Brandon
Hmm.
Pyers. I actually did work with Nate Hilly. I didn't remember it, but I worked with him my first actual show down the one down in Webster.
Yeah.
He was on that show, and I didn't remember. But Dick Talk actually came up because Terrence McCormick was like, "Yeah, you did that 5 minute joke about sucking dicks, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, man." He's like, I didn't hear it, but people were coming upstairs saying one person was talking about the same thing for like 5 minutes." And I was like, "I don't know if I'm proud of that, but." And then Nate was like, "Yeah, I remember that joke. You did that in Webster." And I was like, "Oh shit!" So yeah, we worked together.
See, I tell you, that's why it's such a good bit. Is year later, people are remembering it still because of the audacity. It's incredible you could do that at that time. That we were 4 months in, maybe less, and you could talk about a single subject, dicks, albeit for 15 straight minutes. You could talk about dicks.
It was five. So
That was just
about
dick talk. You had Pompey masturbate. If we
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the rundown of all the dick jokes that you had in a row there,
Yeah.
you would have the same material that you have now times two.
Yeah.
You should
I-
do that. You can
What's that?
headline. If you just took the 15 minutes of dick back in and did your set now, you can headline.
I probably could. Well, the thing about Dick Dog was it wasn't necessarily about sucking dick. It was just we'll go back to audacity of somebody saying they wouldn't do it for $10 million. That's really
Yeah,
what the joke was about.
Of
It wasn't
course.
about sucking dick.
Yes, it is.
I mean, it is.
Yes, it is.
It is in the grand scheme of things. But when I was writing it, it actually came. I think we talked about this on the podcast. It came from a conversation where I saw that video at work, or not at work, but I saw that video, and at work I had said to some of the guys, like, "Dude, I watched this video. This guy said he wouldn't suck a dick for $10 million," and then I went on this rampage, and that was the skeleton of that joke. And I was so irritated by the fact that the guy said he wouldn't do. Like, there's so little that I would not do for $10 million.
Yeah, it's still talking about sucking a dick though. You got like imagine your wife came home and you were so she can't you're in a classic Sopranos household where your couch is facing the exterior, so when someone walks in you see the back of the couch, right? Perfect. She walks in, you're leaning over the back of the couch getting railed by this guy. Right from behind, and you're like, duh, 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 and as she goes, what the fuck, and you're like, this isn't gay. This is a concept called talking about how the hierarchy of a no, it's gay. You can't look any deeper than that on this, Wayne.
I'm
That
just
made
thinking
sense.
about how the views of this are going to get so shattered.
No. Listen, it's beautiful what you're doing with that big giant man in that house. Don't take it as a bad
beautiful
thing. Yeah. I'm trying to say, it is what. Yeah, it totally is. Totally
Yes, judge a book by its cover. That's what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah, if it's getting slammed and their soprano style couch, and then yeah,
yeah.
he had a great couch.
Uh,
Terribly
Yeah.
small TV.
it's like a Michael Scott TV.
He had a pretty small in a living room, but eventually he built a theater room, and that was pretty sweet. What a show!
Cool. Back to the topic. Yeah, so I get to work with Nate Hilly, Terrence McCormick, Thomas Sargent. Never worked with him before. Brandon Byers, never worked with him before. Everybody did really good. Yeah, it was a good time. It was, and like I said, the last podcast, it was a benefit for Boston children, so it made you feel even better.
Even
And I
better.
have to give props to Nick Taco.
Why wouldn't you? He's the best.
I know, but he was going to go up and do 15, and Terrence was like, I'm not going to light him. Because like 80% of the people knew him there. But he just went off on these rants and rampages and just kept going and going and going. And I think he might have done like 25 minutes.
Wow.
and people were rolling laughing, like, including myself. I was rolling. When Nick Taco goes on a rant, it is one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen.
Was it off the cuff rant? Was it like crowd work type of rant?
No, it was jokes I've seen, but like you could tell he was really in it that night. He was laser beam focused in on those jokes, and it was the funniest I've ever seen him do them.
That's amazing. And like you said, end of the night bias. You know what I mean? He was the show, and
There was
he
no
took an
bias there.
energy.
He deserved every bit of it.
Well, no, I mean the concept is a bias that he earned it, but still, you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
He took over the slot.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What have you
Well,
been up
fuck,
to?
look at that. Lots of things as well. Out in the wild. Coming up, we got Steve Sweeney. So I don't know how much we talked about it, but I came in second for the contest there in South Shore. Did we talk about it at all?
No, but as Jock calls it, you were the first loser.
I was the first loser. I was, yeah. Thank you. Luckily, there were 3 winners for the contest. Thank God, it wasn't just one. And 3 got to be on a show with Steve Sweeney on the 7th. So I'm gonna do that coming up, which is gonna be fucking tits. Also with Steve Sweeney on the 22nd of September. Double tits.
By
mouth
weight,
open.
real quick, by weight.
That's what you do.
If
when
you
I
were to
talk.
do like a pound of gold and a pound of silver, which one is worth more?
A pound of gold.
No, you did fantastic. It was good. I'm just busting balls, but it was.
What? Oh. Yes. That's true. Yeah, I am a loser, and I'm going to never do comedy again. Thanks, Wayne, you piece of shit. You came in like 27th. All right.
I did. I was down there. I got like a water medal. The most abundant thing on the planet. Here you go. Here's a glass of water. I'll keep talking.
Yeah, you're a cunt. Sorry. All right. Sorry. So while I was standing on the corpse of Wayne, I won the contest because his body was decomposed by that point. That's how dead he was, and that was awesome. Because of that, I met Bill Simas, who runs Funny for Funds, which is a cool charity that's raised over $10 million for charities. So, fuck you, Nick Taco. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so they have Autumn Fest in Woonsocket, Rhode Island on the night before Steve Sweeney's on the 6th, and I will be hosting that. So I hope to hold a big check. That's my goal. I want to hold a big old fake check and give it to somebody. That'd be fucking sweet. And then, yeah, lots of other things. I mean, we got our show on the 7th as well, which is a private gig.
Yeah. So our first OMP production show is
So exciting.
Is a campground up in Loudon.
You can't come.
You can't. It's private. It's a private show. We got Carolyn Plummer as the headliner. Yours truly, me, will be in that lineup as well, along with Xtina, Justin George, beautiful Dan Cronin, and Jacques hosting. So that'll be an incredible night.
So many friends of the show, huge pieces of shit in that lineup. All of them. Think about it. They've all been on the show. Which is fitting for our first OMP show. We should have definitely done that, and we did.
We should have definitely done that. And you know, it's not... I'll say it's not just people we know. It's people that we know that are fucking hilarious. The only person that hasn't been on there is Carolyn, and we're coming for you. We're coming for you, Carolyn.
Yeah, she's going to be on the show.
You'll be on the show.
Now.
In the other sense, we're on the subject. We have our second OMP production show scheduled.
First real ticketed show. So we're going to call them 1 and 1A, right? 1A and 1B first shows.
No, I'd say 1 and 2. I mean, the first show, that's a real show.
So that is a real show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be at the first one, which is sad.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you're opening for Steve Sweeney. I want to give you shit, but you're opening for Steve Sweeney, so I can't really give you shit.
It's true. If there's anybody else.
But October 12th at the H.E. Fletcher Club in Westford, That's going to be a comedy showcase with Anthony and myself.
Can we call it
Justin
the
George
Fletcher?
again. What?
Can we call it the Fletcher? Does it have to be the H.E. Fletcher?
No, but I was using the proper name the first time we mentioned it.
All right. I love, what a great venue. This is so, you go there where all your venue needs. But call it the Fletcher. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's going to be Anthony, myself, Justin George again. We have Kaylee Krenzer, Chef Phil, and Jacques hosting. Did I say Justin George?
You did.
Yeah. So he's been killing it, so he deserves 2 mentions. He's been doing really well. But yeah, so that'll be fun. Flyer says $15, but put in promo code OMP1012, and that'll get you a $10 ticket.
Look at that. $10 ticket. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. Those are all some of the funniest people I've seen and met doing this this crazy ass thing that we do.
I agree. And we're planning more. We'll have more. We're going to do
We
shows.
will have more. There's nothing we can announce right now. But yeah, there's going to be more.
Going to be all kinds of mores. Yeah, I mean, and we got a contest coming up, Wicked Funny. I'm booked at Wicked Funny as an actual person in November. That's going to be fun. Can't wait for that.
You are?
I am. I'm in November.
For
November
what?
16th. Opening for Katrobus.
Oh, you didn't even tell me about that.
He's
That's
doing
awesome.
a headline gig over there. Yeah, I did. I didn't tell you that, no?
No, I don't think so. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Wicked Funny. Yeah, Trevor Nutt's on the show, too, I guess.
Oh, I do remember this. Yes, I do remember the show. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I do remember this. I didn't realize it was that Wicked Funny. But I too will be there on October 20th.
October 20th.
Another show going on.
Yes.
If you guys want to go, let me know. Buy tickets.
Yeah, buy tickets to that show. That's
Yeah.
going to be a really cool one as well. So you can see September, October, and November, one of us, or both of us, at Wicked Funny.
Yeah. And
Contest.
then last night, if you were at Navigation, we both fucking killed. Because we are in the future.
Yes, definitely. In the past, we sit and we can speak as holy ghosts about the future, but we don't know because it's uncertain. Where is this? Are you listening to this in February of 2025? Might be. Maybe you went back in time because you figured out space-time continuum like Christopher Nolan did, and no one really gave him credit for that. He figured it out. I don't know. Where am we going? Oh, yeah, we were at Navigation. Yes, so incredible that you got added on this show because, god damn it, is it easier to do a setup show when you're there because you help out so much. Not only that, but it was a show that is a headliner with already 5 people on the lineup. So I was like, damn, every time that happens, I'm like, fuck. Because, you want always the chance that one of your friends shows up and they get to go on the lineup. But you have so good of material that we're making it fucking happen anyways, right?
Megan, what happened?
You're on the show now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm on the show actually to run my material for the contest. Let's get that practice in.
Ooh, that's going to be lovely. And this is the first time you're going to do that 5 minutes in this order?
Yes. Yeah. I have a smaller joke that I'm adding in, and then I've kind of trimmed the fat to try to get as many laughs per minute as per quarter minute as I can. I would like to try to get a laugh every 15 seconds if I can.
I think even in the beginning of a set, it's more important. Like you have a great first joke that does this, but it's like the first 5 seconds. It's good to, like, every 5 seconds in your first joke, it's good to get a laugh. Then you can let it breathe a bit. But you got to get people to, in the chuckling mood.
Yep. So, getting in that headspace, this is something I wanted to bring up a couple weeks now. We mentioned a couple weeks ago that I've actually started listening to Kill Tony, and I started at the beginning. I've been keeping up with the most recent episodes, but in between, I'm starting from number 1 to go on. and more as time goes on, I'm like, what would I do for my minute? Have you ever thought about that? Like, if you were to get on Kill Tony, do you know what you would do for your 1 minute?
I think about it all the time, though. I don't listen to... So I watch the highlights of Kill Tony or when there's a big episode, but before we get into the minute, I will say, you are so good at absorbing cringe. I don't... Like, you're fine. You'll watch someone beat their wife in public and you'll eat popcorn during it. You can't... The cringe doesn't affect you.
You know what it is? I love when shit goes wrong for people because it makes me feel better about myself. So when I listen to somebody bomb and I'm like, oh, it must be their first time on stage, and then somebody goes, how long have you been doing stand-up? They go, 23 years. I'm like, fuck, I love this. This makes me feel so good.
Yeah, Louis C.K. said it best. He said it takes at least 10 years to figure out if you're funny in comedy, and you won't know until that happens, and you'll just one day, 10 years, be like, oh. You realize that you're just not funny. Because that's tough. I went to an open mic last week, and I'm not going to say which one to protect the identities. But somebody went up and ate the most amount of shit I've ever seen somebody eat in their life. And they didn't know they were doing it, which is awesome. Because I feel like I always knew when I ate shit, for the most part. Like, in the beginning, I know that maybe something I would think was a good set. When I look back now, I'm like, that wasn't a good set. But at least I knew when I'm like, man, that nothing worked at all. That sucked. This guy was like, all right. As he walked off, like, okay, there you go. And I was like, man, we in silence stared at you in confusion for 5 straight minutes. I don't know why.
That's one of my favorite things on Kill Tony is when somebody goes up and it's complete silence. And knowingly, Tony will say, how do you think that went? And they go, I think it went pretty good. I think it was better than last time. It's like, wow.
If you asked that kid that's what he would have said. He would have said it just like that. That would have been better last time. That's pretty good.
It's
yeah,
like
no,
I
can't.
listen back and I hear the bartender coughing in the back. I'm like, I think it was a laugh. It was a laugh. I got something. I'm good.
I do watch the biggest bombs in Kill Tony. I like it because I'm being hypocritical when I say I can't watch the cringe. I can't watch I can watch the biggest bombs because it makes them angry, and then they usually argue, and it's like, you fucking like suck, and that's funny. But the really bad to the point that it's pathetic, and they don't really make fun of them. They're like, oh, it's just a cringy set. I can't listen to that. Like, we hear so much of that already. I wonder if the general, like, if you go up to a random person and maybe they can stomach it more because they're not used to hearing that shit. But it's like, man, I see people eat shit every day in the battlefield. It's like watching them die. And I'm not gonna watch war videos now.
You know what I don't understand when watching some of that, and I might be alienating some people here. I don't know, but when you hear people go up and do jokes that are obviously cliche jokes, like, you know, they'll have this big setup and the whole joke is about how they have a small dick or how, you know, whatever, something like that, like something super obvious, and everybody makes a joke. You know, you could be in the office and somebody's going to make a joke about you having a small dick. It's just like, oh, okay, that's something everybody makes a joke about. But 3 years into comedy, and I got a small, it looks like an acorn laying on a fig. It's like, what? That's what
I love how you said you were going to alienate people with that. You're like, I may alienate people. It's like someone's like, hey, I write cliche jokes.
Well, no, because my point is I don't understand how people can be doing this for that long and then think that that's the path to success. Maybe I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to sound like a dickhead or an asshole, but
I just don't know if you're in control of it. That's the problem. Like, you write what you think is funny. And sometimes, like, like Weird Al, he writes music, and it's horrible, but he writes it, and it's still... I love doing that to you, because it makes you so mad. I can see your face.
We're going to have a problem.
I'd fuck you and Weird Al up at the same time.
Yeah, probably, but... probably.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, you did almost choke me out one time, so yeah, definitely you could.
Not almost. I let you live.
Yeah, that is more accurate.
I almost choked you out. You're like, yield!
I will say that was an eye-opening moment for me because we watched UFC for so long, and I was like, I understood why people tapped out. It's like, oh, why fall asleep when? But you see the black coming in, and it's like, oh, okay, you know it's done. If those people don't tap out and they're out, they're just being stubborn.
Yeah, this was the time, and so to give background to the listeners, there was a time where I thought there was a chance that I'd be able to get Wayne into a position to defend himself when anybody tried to hurt him. Now I can't. He's just going to die.
No, that happened with my
What do you
brother.
mean?
My brother was a pretty good wrestler when he was in high school,
Yeah.
and you were teaching me some shit, and then he found out, and then he tried to fuck with me, and I ended up I don't know. He was in like full guard or whatever, and I ended up reversing. And
Ah,
you were
nice.
there for that, were you not?
No, that was afterwards. I fucked your brother up in front of you, and then you.
But no, I did the same. He got me
Nice.
down, and then whatever you taught me, I was able to flip him, and I had full guard. Full guard. I can't remember the terminology now, but
Everybody out there, just know that if you fucking Wayne, he's gonna go, "Is this full guard?" And people fucking beat the shit out of him. That's okay. So I'll protect you. So we are. What else do we got? I don't know. I said we are like I had something to say, but I didn't have anything to say.
well, we were talking about Kill Tony and what you would do for your minute.
Yeah, that was the whole. Yeah,
Did you have any input? I mean, if you don't, that's fine. But I was just curious if you.
No, shut up. I'm gonna think of something. I know you know what you're gonna say, but
I
what
don't.
am I gonna do? So the good thing is almost all my bits are 1 minute. The problem is like for instance, if I did Act of God, which is a great 1 minute bit.
It wouldn't make any sense in a 1 minute bit, in a 1 minute set.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's my point. I got so many jokes that like, how do you wrap up who you are into 1 minute? What do you have? Do you have one that you would do?
I would love to do
dicks,
my
I
down
fucking
for
know
love
that.
joke.
Could you get that in a minute?
It's about 2 minutes and like 15 seconds with the setup, so I could just get right into it. Just be like, yeah, I've been watching a lot of dating shows. I watched the show Down for Love. I've come up with my own ideas, and then just go right into it. But I think the setup and how I do it with, I'm forced to watch these shows and I hate it, but at the same time, I've also grown to love it to the point where I've come up with my own versions of it. I think kind of plays into why it's funny. Because the whole like first half of the joke is like, man, I'm fucking watching this shit. It sucks. Why are they making these shows? How many are they going to make? How many is my wife going to make me watch? Blah, 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 blah. But I think I might be onto something. And I think that's a big turn. So I don't know if it would work in a minute setting.
That might not.
The other thing that I would think if I was to go up, maybe that little bit that I do before that where I talk about gaining a lot of weight and not being able to masturbate anymore and the sleep apnea thing and then like my mom's throat cancer joke that we've talked about. I think I could get that little chunk into about a minute with some tweaking, and I think I could have pretty good laughs on that whole thing, and I think that would go over pretty well.
There you have it.
I think that's probably where I would go if I was to end up on that show.
Yeah, or maybe mistakes. That'd be a good bit that I have that's kind of isolated. It's about a minute.
Yeah.
Do that. My kids are mistakes. That's the bit. Blah, blah, blah. They are. God damn it, they are. So, Kill Tony's awesome. We know that. What about Rogie Bear?
Yeah, we definitely want to get into Rogan, but I will say for anybody that maybe watches Kill Tony now that didn't start from the beginning, the very beginning of the show, when it was really small, they actually were giving tips and tags and criticisms and trying to help. I mean, they still do that a little bit, but it was a lot. Like, you'll hear somebody go up to a minute, and they will spend a few minutes going, hey, what if you do this tag instead? Kind of like we do in, like, text or if me, you, Justin, and Jacques get on a phone call or whatever. It's almost like more like a writing group in the beginning, and it was pretty. It was quite a bit different. I'm really enjoying the earlier episodes. So, and
They're
they
doing
also give a lot of
arenas now.
tips.
Isn't that fucking insane?
What's that?
They're doing arenas now for Kill Tony. Isn't that insane? Where that
is
started?
insane. Yeah, it's definitely much more of a production. The other thing, and I'll urge people to go listen from the beginning for this reason too, is they do give a lot of really good advice. Just like general overall joke writing / stage performance advice in that show.
Hear that? Wayne's urging you. Do you know
urge you.
how powerful of a word urge is? And he's doing that to you. Like he's going up to you going, please. That's because that's what urge means.
Yeah.
So please watch it.
Somebody that I wish would have watched that was Joe Rogan.
Oh, Wayne's not happy.
I was
Wayne's
not happy with
happy.
the special. It wasn't great. Like,
All right. Tease a little bit there, buddy. We're talking about
can't.
Joe Rogan special is live on Netflix, which the average comedian takes 2 to 4 shows of filming to produce a special. He did it live at the Alamo, wherever he was. All right, Wayne, what's the matter, you bitch?
I don't know. I found a lot of he had a lot of funny premises, but I felt there were a lot of cheap punches. Stuff that, kind of like what I said with Paul last week. Stuff that I feel like I could have seen at Strange Brew or the Comedy Mill or whatever. I'm not saying it's bad stuff, but it's just not something that I think somebody who's been doing comedy for 40 years would be doing. I didn't watch it live.
Maybe.
I will preface that. I didn't watch it live. I watched it after, which I think there might be a difference in how it was perceived.
You know, I think that there were a lot less laughs on the live one I heard, meaning
Yeah.
that they cut out the stuff that didn't go there. Now, I will say that while I was watching it, I definitely saw some good in there that I was impressed by. One, I'm impressed by anybody that can talk for an hour because it seems so impossible.
Yeah.
So start off there. But this is professional comedy. They all do hours, so we're judging it. That doesn't get factored in. His timing was good. I think his timing was really good, really quick. He had punches in quick places. You can tell he was doing this material for 6 years. I hated that he did COVID jokes. You're like, man, COVID? He also did a Chinese accent that was horrible. That was the worst thing I've ever heard anybody do. But there were some, like, I liked the, there were a couple, like, he took a good angle about smoking weed. I forgot the actual punchline to it. But I was like, wow, that's a nice, that was a nice little joke about getting high that I never thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
He had a UFO joke that was great. Like, why would they land on the White House lawn? Like, do we, like, meet the king of the fish when we go, the president of the fish when we go in the ocean? I think that's a good joke.
Yeah, I'm not saying there was nothing good in there. Just as an overall, I was overall disappointed. But yeah, there were some things that made me laugh. There were some things that was like, oh, that's fucking brilliant. But then,
not something that we hear better headliners around here, doing their hours,
Yeah. Yep. And he repeated jokes from previous specials.
I heard that. That must have been a live thing. He must have gotten to the shit and be like,
No, because I
this
watched
joke
it
works.
after the fact. He did the joke about the lesbian saying, like, sorry, fellas, my dick's better than yours. And she was talking about a strap on. And he's like, that's like having a lighter and thinking you're a dragon. Which is a funny joke. But
Sorry,
I remember that from the last special, the special before or whatever. I was literally watching it, and when he said that joke, I rewound it. I was like, "What? Did he mention that he said this?" Because I missed the part where he was talking about how he was misquoted or whatever. But he ended up doing the whole joke again instead of just referencing it. He did the whole joke again. It kind of reminded me of Chappelle doing the whole bit of Chris Rock in his special where he like repeated Chris Rock's joke word for word. It's like this. I mean, you're taking minutes of your joke for something that's been seen before. Minutes of your set rather that's been seen before.
That is true. And Rogan also wore a terrible shirt.
Always does.
Terrible shirt. Like the guy looks so good in a t-shirt. Just wear a t-shirt, man.
No, he always has the long sleeve button up. Is that what he wore? I didn't even notice, but he does always
Yeah,
wear.
it was like mustard
UFC.
yellow though.
Yeah,
And he doesn't put the cuffs around his wrist because his wrists are so gigantic.
yeah.
Now, man, now that's a guy I couldn't protect you from. He would kill both of us.
Oh, 100%.
That'd be unfortunate. I would just have to try to, like, while he was mauling you, I'd have to see how far I can run away.
You said something to me that was, I don't know, it made a lot of sense. But you were saying, you're saying he's so on top of everything right now. Nobody's going to tell him when something isn't funny or when something needs to be different or when something needs to be changed or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's hard.
And
it's hard to write material with that.
you need somebody to tell you, like, I don't like that. Like, you tell me I don't like that all the time. And, a lot of times I'll send jokes to a few different people. And, one person saying that doesn't mean anything. Well, it means something, but it doesn't mean the end of the world or the end of the joke or whatever. But if nobody tells you that and it's a bad joke, that's detrimental to you. You need an Anthony in your life to go, that fucking sucks.
That joke sucks. Yeah, I am way too honest about the jokes. Because I'm wrong a lot as well. I'm learning that. Because, like,
But it's also subjective.
It's very subjective. That's true. Yeah, Chris Rock used to hire a group of people to sit and bounce jokes off of, just try to write tags together and all that kind of stuff. And he trusted their opinions, and he knew, like, he was like, you're obligated to tell me the truth on this.
Mm-hmm.
And, he wrote the most killer albums of all time with that method. And then there are people like Rogan who is going to be at his own club all the time with people who are dependent on him, who are not going to say, hey, you suck. Well, you should fucking work on that thing.
I wonder if some of it is this as well. We've talked about this, but Steve Martin stopped doing stand-up because he found that he did a set one night where he knew it was just bad jokes. And he wanted to see what the reaction would be, and everybody laughed. And he came to the conclusion that people are laughing because he's Steve Martin. It doesn't matter what he said. They laughed just because he was Steve Martin. So I think it kind of took some of the fun. We talk about the fun being going to an open mic and going, oh, that didn't work. I'm going to change it. And then, oh, that was a little bit better. I'm going to change it. And go, oh, that was worse. Change it. And then go back. And then when you finally crack that code where you get a big laugh for something that was a shitty little joke over here but becomes a diamond in the rough here, that's the fun of it. And when you're famous like that and people just laugh at whatever you say because you're famous, I can see that being shitty.
I think it depends on the person. Like, for instance, I don't care. I'm like, give me the laughs. I don't care how I get it. Forever. I don't care if their jokes are good. Make fun of me. Laugh, 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 laugh. Because really, we're making laughs, and I like eat it. We're making laugh pizzas, and so give me the cheese. So they, well, okay, you always fuck me up with that. I'm gonna go over there and beat the shit out of you, Wayne. Every time I'm in the middle of a sentence, I hear like you're gonna fucking talk.
I'm gonna cut that out. You're gonna look crazy.
I know, but you don't cut all of them out, and I hear it.
No,
like
I
a guest will be talking. And I'll just hear. Oh,
that's
God,
my waking apnea.
Yeah, definitely. You have it. It's like when the psycho opened the bath curtain and he's like, ding, ding, ding. She's like, ah! Like, you do that just to fucking open a sentence up. Oh, man. You start sentences like my kid opens gifts. Like, fucking mess. All right, I took us off path. What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's what berating does to a man.
Yeah.
All right.
We were talking about Steve Martin.
Oh, yeah. Just cause, yeah. My point was I'll take the laughs any way I can get them. You're right. So what is...
But you find no joy in the process of refining a joke to get the maximum amount of laughs?
I do. I like it. But I don't like... Sometimes I like to live on the surface, Wayne. I don't like to think deeply, okay? like just like the cheap hooker laugh. Yeah, give it to me. You know what I did like is last week I went to Mulliford's on one of my days, and
Mulliford's?
Yeah, it's Biddeford Mulligans. Call it Mulliford's.
Oh.
That's the only way that Justin can. This is shorthand for Justin because I always say Biddeford or Mulligans, and he's like, "Who?" And I go Mulliford's, and he's like, "Oh, I get it. It's just how his brain works." But anyways,
All right.
so I went up to Biddeford Mulligan's Comedy Mill, Mulliford's, and I went up there, did not practice anything, did not know what I was gonna do. Just knew I was like, I'm gonna do all new shit. I gotta get some new shit out there and do it. And I went to my joke book from a year ago when I went to England and went to the zoo out there, and I had a little just idea down about tigers. And I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll riff on that. That sounds fun. And I think I got something out of it.
I think you
that
do.
was really cool.
Yeah, you sent that to me. That was really good.
Yeah, it's a cool little joke that I think is going to work. And that was awesome. I have a joke about the Macarena. I'm going to see it live. And a little story about that I only did one time. I remember doing it with you. I was like, I'm going to try a story joke. And it was like 4 minutes. It was like most of my set was talking about that. And I did one instead in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a quick little go on it. I'll give this away because I don't care. Basically, the story is I had a pact with a friend that I wanted to go see the Macarena on mushrooms. And I took it right when I got there, which is a mistake because they got like 20 fucking songs. And anyway, so out of my mind, I get locked into a deaf interpreter. Someone, which... Because when you take mushrooms, you try, like, you don't even... You're like, what's work? That doesn't even make any sense. Just live with the trees, man. Like, why are you going to go work? Like, that's the mentality that you get into. So, someone interpreting music for deaf people... It just makes no sense when you're on mushroom. That doesn't make any fucking sense. But anyways, more than that, I knew that the Macarena was coming up, and I'm like, is this person going to sign the horrible sexist words to the Macarena while 20,000 other people do the Macarena? And yeah, so I got a little storytelling bit about that time, and that's really fun to do too, because I'm not usually into that.
Yeah, the only other storytelling bit that I remember you doing was the witch at Chili's.
Yeah,
Like,
I haven't done it in a while. Yeah, you were there. I remember that. Yeah, I always
I gave her your number.
You did. I remember I had a flip phone. You know what it's like to open a flip phone to a witch? You just fucking.
It's funny you went back through your joke book because I was just today actually. I remembered an old joke. I don't even think I wrote it down in my joke book, but I remember this old joke premise I had about you probably remember this, about how all these old people, like we just lost Betty White, Bob Barker, Mel Brooks is still alive, like all this old generation, they're all living to high 90s, early hundreds, but like our generation, like the boomers and us and all that, starting to die at like mid 40s, early 60s, and my theory being that it's caused by stress because back when Bob Barker was alive, he could hit his family. He had a way to get the stress out. He wasn't just neutering dogs; he was kicking the balls off them. You know, like that.
4 out of 5 doctor says if you punch your wife square in her jaw, you'll feel better tomorrow.
So I don't know why that popped in my head, but I was like, man, I kind of want to revisit that, but it's obviously a touchy subject. You got to do it couthly. You don't want to make it uncouth. That's an old person term. I was trying to be clever there with the old person term.
Well, I've never heard couth, but without the un in front of it. No, I know uncouth, but I've never heard couth by itself.
Oh no, I haven't either. Yeah. But yeah, that popped into my head today. I was like, man, I kind of want to work on that and make that I want to make it a joke that I can say and not get stoned to death when I'm walking to my car.
Yeah, you should do it at the church where you're hosting an open mic for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Man, I love that name. What a great.
Yeah,
wish I had a name like that.
September 9th. I'll be hosting the 19 Carter mic. But I am going to do my 5 minutes that I'm going to do in the contest in the beginning.
Pussy. I
just want to get it in, and yeah, I'll probably sprinkle some shit in between here and there, but I don't want
I'm
to
not
keep people
gonna
there all
prep for this contest at all.
night.
Every open,
because you just came in as the first loser, so you're good now.
yeah, no, not because fuck you, not because of that. It's the second winner. Okay, please God, give me something. No, I am gonna. So I've got 4 shows before the contest or something of that nature, and I'm gonna do the jokes that are on there sprinkled in all the shows. So I'm gonna get the reps in on those things. And the open mics, I mean, I treasure the new shit now. I really going up there. I went up with a notebook. I usually don't do that. Now at open mics, going up with notebooks, blurbs on the lines. I don't care. I'm not gonna have anything fucking ready to go. So I'm gonna try to pull mad because, like you said, I got that joke. I think could be a joke that goes in my rotation about the Tigers and you know, even the Macarena joke. I think I could do in a thing, and if I can keep doing that, you know, 25 minutes is not out of the question.
I did that at the last 19 Carter. I brought up a not a notebook, but just a index card with just keywords, and I knew what I wanted to do, which was the first half. And then if I got to the point where I finished early and I had more time, than I had the second half, and I did finish early, and that was a really cool feeling because we talked about, you know, we were getting onto mics and we had the time to put the work in to set up our time, but now it's at the point where we have stuff that's good, obviously good enough. We're getting booked and being on these shows. We're working on new stuff, and it's okay to fuck around more for us. I think I don't want to say okay to fuck around. It's more beneficial to fuck around more, I think.
Well, so to me, the difference was a 5 minute. That was my show for the week. I used to say that on here. I was like, "Hey,
Yep.
I'm not fucking around. That's my show for the week." And that 5 minutes was the time that I really want to try to kill. And now you know, there's a couple shows every week that me and you have been doing, and that's been, you know, getting into a groove of 10 and 15 minute sets all the time. That's been really fun. I want to talk about real quick Gibbs, because that was probably the biggest epiphany set I've had in a long time. It wasn't like an incredible, like, crush the room down or anything like that, but it was the first time I kind of was at a real show and I had an open-ended amount of time, meaning, you know, Mike told me to stretch, do what I want to do, you know, take my time with everything, and I went up, I took drink breaks, I was more casual with the crowd, and I did my jokes in between that. And man, it was a couple minutes of time really throughout it that I think was just natural good energy, that being relaxed and present. Steve Bjork said it in our podcast, that you will start really enjoying comedy when you can slow down and actually be present on stage. And that was the first time that's happened. Like that, I knew it when it happened. I was like, wow, this is what it's like to be present. So that was cool. I didn't know if I'd know it when I see it, but that's what it's like.
Yeah, that's something that I think comes when you get a little more leeway like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I said, I felt that at the beer garden, maybe to like 75%, but I still had a time limit. You know what I mean? It's not like I could just go up there and fuck around. So those little breaks or whatever, the pause for laughters and stuff like that, which you always want to do, but I still had in the back of my head, I have X amount of time and I still have this stuff that I want to get through. And without having a timer in front of you, you don't know how much time you have left, and you want to make sure you hit your closing joke or whatever. But when you have a thing, and you're always good about this, and when I host, I try to be good about this as well, where you're not a stickler. You know, yeah, if you want to, you know, you have a time you have to get to, but, you know, you don't necessarily want to try to kick somebody off at like exactly 15 minutes. Like, all right, if they're having fun and they're getting the laughs, yeah, sure, go for it.
No, I agree.
Obviously, you have to take control at some point, but
You do, yeah. The thing of why I'm a little bit more lax as a host as well is I do the time I care about doing, I do in the front. So if there's stuff that happens where someone goes long or by a little bit in the show, I really could just calculate by being quicker in between, and I'm really just trying to service the show that it's good. So like you said, if someone's doing good, then I won't do jokes in between and just keep it rolling on. Now, if someone sucks, it's rare on our show that someone sucks and they go long. Normally, if someone's eating shit, they go short, but it happens. You know, people will. What were you gonna say? You had one in mind?
No.
Your fucking mouth opener.
No. Not
You
me.
were open. You're about to say something. Don't you dare lie.
No.
can
Are
tell.
you talking about? Are you talking about when you're a host, or are you talking about when you're just on the show?
No, and I'm host. I was
Okay.
saying about the people. I was just saying in general, people don't like when someone sucks. They usually are a little short, which gives you time to put a joke in there to win the
Yeah.
crowd back if you're the host. Like, it's not often that someone obliviously just is on a show and they're horrible the whole time and they go long by a lot. You're like, damn. Like,
Yeah.
don't bomb long.
That's one of the things in the hosting class with Mike that stuck with me was, if somebody goes up and they're killing and they end on a really good laugh, just keep it going. Get the next guy up there as fast as possible, or girl, as fast as possible. But if somebody's bombing, you gotta have to try to get the audience back. You want to try to get the energy back up for the next person to give them the best foot forward. To,
Which sucks, by the way. When someone's bombing their ass off and you gotta go up there and save the crowd, oh, it's like doing bullet every time. All
Yeah.
over again. That's what it feels like, but that's the job.
that's why hosting is so hard, because you're already seen as less than. We talk seen as less than. You have to break through that barrier of funny comic. I'm just like Steve York said. I'm here with funny friends. But a lot rides on you, especially in the beginning, to do your set and so that the first comic in the lineup can go up to a good crowd, and then they don't. It's back. That's why hosting is so hard.
And I take a lot of pride in that when I host. Like, for instance, at the beer garden, at the Starks, and other ones that I've hosted that you've been bullet on, I feel like you've had some of your best sets at those. And I take a lot of pride in that because I really try to set you up before I put you up there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times that you don't have your best sets are not directly your fault, because a host could do that to you. A host can make it so it's hard for you to get started, especially in the when you're starting off in the front.
Yeah, it's also not fair to just put it on the host either in either direction. But like, if you necessarily crowd for you, possibly you too. But
Oh well, it's always 90% you plus. I'm just saying, like, you gotta give yourself a 10% buffer when the host sucks.
yeah.
And at 10% in the host's favor, if the host is great, and his name's Anthony.
You are great.
We'll see this weekend. I don't know if I'm hosting.
Yeah, I don't know either. But it'll be good.
I'm gonna make you. I'm gonna be like, watch Wayne do it. He likes it. He's
I
so
do.
good. You're a handsome host. That's for fucking sure. No.
I mean, Mike wanted, I will 5 minutes and then the show for him. I really don't care.
Damn. I care, and I want you to do it because I want to go up just do 15 minutes and say bye.
I will say to just go up and then be done.
It's
I mean,
nice.
I
It's
find
nice
hosting
to do
on
that.
what it is, just like, especially, boom, I'm done. I can have a beer or two, play the comedy. I'm good. There is and a panic that goes on, trying to figure out when somebody's going to be done, especially if you don't know their set, when their final joke is.
Mm-hmm. I know. It's so great when you're on a show that I'm hosting. or even just when you were hosting at Swansea, Justin came up to me because he was after you, because he was going to go bullet at our show, and he's like, all right, fuck, do you know when Wayne ends? And I wasn't even listening to your set, and I went, 1.5 minutes. I knew when it was going to end. It didn't matter. And as a host, nothing
You know what's
easier
funny
than that.
about that? At the show in Leominster, when I started Down for Love, because that's my closing bit, I looked over and I saw Nick whispers, and then all of a sudden Terrence was up there ready to go. So like I think Nick knew like this is close. He's going to be done in a few minutes. Whatever, a minute and a half. Funny.
Look at that. All right, we petered to the end. Anything else, Wayne?
No, go buy tickets to the October 12th show. I know it's a ways out, but fucking buy tickets.
Yeah, come support us or we'll never put on another show again.
No, there are some incredible comics on there. Kaylee she blew my mind. Swansea. Justin's been killing it every show that I've seen. Incredible. Chef Phil's always hilarious. Jacques Lambert, always very funny. One of the best hosts in the game, too.
Speaking of host, that's what I was about to say. Speaking of hosts, he'll put us to shame.
Yep.
The greatest.
And then me and Anthony will be there for moral support.
Unless I get booked by Steve Sweeney again, in which case I will abandon you again. And that's what you are. You are to me until something better comes along. All right. It's been a worthy step in the quest for laughs. Good night. What? Oh. Yes.